Hi, I'm Alan Emery. I'm author of The Rational Spiritual Warrior and The Rational Spiritualist on Facebook. What I'd like to talk about today is something that's counterintuitive and hard to understand, so please bear with me. I think we'll get there. One of the most important things in becoming spiritual is getting rid of your baggage, because being spiritual requires all of your energy. You can't have other things happening in the background, so you have to get rid of all of your baggage. Now, what exactly is baggage? Baggage is things you hang on to, traumas that you hang on to. So, for example, if someone did something wrong and it affected you poorly and you're upset, having a grudge against them is baggage, okay? And you can't afford to have that baggage. It cuts into your ability to be spiritual. It cuts into your ability to live your life the way you should live it. So how do we stop that? Well, it's very simple. You forgive them. Forgiveness is very important. Now, you don't forgive them for their benefit. You forgive them for your benefit so that you don't carry that burden around with you, okay? And here's how you look at it. If somebody did something that was terrible to you, okay, and you really feel bad about it and you're really upset with them, okay, well, forgive them for being who they are, because they don't have control over who they are. If they did, they wouldn't do such things. If you wouldn't do that, then you do have more control over who you are, and so you don't do it. And they should look up to you. But that doesn't necessarily happen, okay, because people get very confused. And again, it's confusing for anyone to hold a grudge because the grudge hurts them far more than the person they hold a grudge against. So what's the point of it? If we forgive them for being the person they are, not necessarily for the action they committed. You don't have to forgive them for that action. You just have to forgive them for being who they are. And again, does everybody have control over who they are? I think most people don't have control of it. And that's why so many people need forgiveness. Okay, so let's say we've done the job. We've forgiven people for the things that they've done to us. What does that do? Well, one of the things it does is it makes us realize that we're not so important that we should carry that grudge around against somebody else, that we don't deserve better treatment just because we exist. It would be nice if people were the way that they should be and they treated other people the way they would like to be treated. That is the golden rule. But you can't expect everybody's going to be able to do that. They're carrying traumas of their own that somebody gave to them, and that's why they do it. And so you forgive them for having their traumas, and then you let yours go. Don't let them control whether or not you have trauma. You control whether or not you have trauma. And then once you get rid of all this baggage, you have all this energy that you were using for something else that you can now devote to whatever you want. And one of the things you can devote it to is becoming more spiritual, having more satisfaction in your life, having more choices, becoming more adult and more aware. These are all good things that are going to benefit you. But you have to take the first step and get enough energy. You see, spirituality is like buying things in the store. If you go into the store, you have a budget, and you can't spend more money than you have. You can borrow it, but that's not allowed in spiritual stuff. You have to have the capital to purchase what you want. So if you're spending your money holding grudges, then you can't afford to buy the things you want. So get rid of the grudges. Get rid of the baggage. You don't need it. It doesn't do you any good. It might make you feel better about yourself because you're a poor baby who got hurt. But that doesn't benefit you in any way. It might make you feel better when you think about it. But holding that grudge, that's another story. That's more being like them than being like you. So let it go. Let the trauma go. I've had people do terrible things to me, But I don't hold it against them because they didn't know any better. If they knew better, they wouldn't have done it. So I forgive them for that, for not knowing. And then I don't have these bad feelings to carry around with me. I'm free. I can do what I want. I can climb up to the highest spiritual level that I want to because I have the energy to do it. And that's all it is. It's just all about being an accountant with your spiritual energy and not wasting it on petty thoughts. Only on thoughts that are important, ones that matter, ones that uplift you, help you to climb to a higher level. And if you do that, then you will eventually become as spiritual as you want.